My name is Alex Carter. I started my tech company in my small garage when I was just 23. No money, no support, only one laptop and my idea. For years, I worked day and night. I wrote the code myself. I built the system myself. Slowly, the company started growing. When investors showed interest, my parents stepped in. They said, "We are family, we will protect you." I trusted them. Big mistake. Behind my back, they sold my company for $900 million. They signed the deal. They shook hands. And then, they fired me from my own company. I was shocked. Broken. Homeless within weeks. But they forgot one small thing. Backhand index pointing right, I own the core code. The heart of the entire system. The next morning, I activated my backup plan. The platform stopped working. Clients panicked. The new owners called me nonstop. I answered only once. I said, "You bought the company, but I am the company." Within 30 days, the deal collapsed. The company value crashed. And I rebuilt everything under my own name. Today, my new company is worth more than double. And my family? They still wonder how I won. While standing alone. After the deal collapsed, everyone thought I was finished. News headlines called me the fired founder. My parents went on interviews, blaming me for everything. I stayed silent. For 6 months, I disappeared. No social media. No statements. No drama. But behind the scenes, I was building something bigger. I contacted the engineers who truly believed in me. Quietly. One by one. They joined me not for money, but for loyalty. This time, I did everything differently. New company. New servers. New legal structure. And one important rule. Backhand index pointing right, no family. No emotions. Only control. Meanwhile, my old company was dying. Customers complained daily. The system crashed again and again. The new owners begged for fixes. My parents tried calling me. I didn't answer. Then one night, they showed up at my door. My mother cried. My father apologized. They said, "We just wanted to protect the family name." I looked at them and replied calmly, "You didn't protect me. You sold me." I closed the door. 3 weeks later, my new product launched. It went viral overnight. Investors lined up. Media changed their tone. The same reporters who mocked me before now asked, "How did you come back from nothing?" I smiled and said, "I was never nothing. I was just quiet." Within 1 year, my new company surpassed the old one. The market chose me, not my last name. And that's when I learned the hardest lesson of my life. 1 year later, I received an invitation. A global tech summit. Same city, same hotel, and one familiar name on the guest list. My parents' company. They didn't know I would be there. When I walked into the hall, people whispered. Some were shocked. Some stood up to shake my hand. I was no longer the fired founder. I was the CEO everyone wanted to meet. Then the moment came. The host announced, "Please welcome our keynote speaker, Alex Carter." My parents froze. I stepped onto the stage calmly. No anger. No revenge speech. Just facts. I talked about betrayal. About losing everything. About rebuilding from silence. Then I showed the numbers. My new company had officially acquired the broken remains of my old company. The room went silent. I ended my speech with one line. "You can sell a company, but you can't sell the mind that built it." The audience stood up. Applause everywhere. After the event, my father approached me. His voice was low. He said, "You won." I looked at him and replied, "No, I survived." That night, I didn't feel hate. I felt peace. Because the real victory wasn't money. It wasn't power. 2 years after the summit, my phone rang late at night. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. But something made me answer. It was my mother. Her voice was weak. Tired. Nothing like before. She said softly, "Your father is sick. He keeps asking for you." I stayed silent. For a long moment, I remembered everything. The betrayal. The lies. The night I was thrown out. But I also remembered something else. They were still my parents. I visited the hospital the next day. My father looked smaller. older, broken. When he saw me, tears rolled down his face. He said, "I thought money could control everything." I was wrong. I didn't argue. I didn't remind him of the past. I just said, "I learned something too. Power without trust destroys families." Before I left, I made one decision. I paid all his medical bills. Not because he deserved it, but because I deserved peace. When I walked out of that hospital, I felt lighter than ever. That day, I understood the final truth. Years passed. The world knew my name now. Awards, interviews, success stories written about me. But the proudest moment of my life wasn't on a stage. It was the day I opened a small building with a simple sign outside. Founder Lab, built from nothing. This place wasn't for rich kids. It wasn't for powerful families. It was for dreamers, for people who were ignored, for those told, "You're not enough." I funded everything myself. No investors. No family control. Every student heard the same words from me on day one. If someone takes your title, your job, your company, they can never take your skills. One evening, a young founder asked me, "Do you hate your parents for what they did?" I smiled and answered honestly, "No. They gave me the pain that built my strength." Before leaving each night, I look at the wall. On it, only one sentence is written. Backhand index pointing right, legacy is not what you inherit. It's what you build when no one believes in you. That's when I knew. They sold my company. They fired me. They tried to erase me. One morning, I received an email. No subject line. No company name. Just one sentence. "Your story saved my life." It was from a young man who had lost everything. His job. His family support. His confidence. He wrote that he was about to quit. Until he heard my story on YouTube. He said, "If you could stand alone and rebuild, maybe I can too." I sat there quietly. For the first time, I realized something powerful. My journey was no longer just my journey. It belonged to everyone who felt betrayed, undervalued, or forgotten. That day, I started sharing my story openly. Not as a victim, not as a hero, but as proof. Proof that silence can be stronger than shouting. Proof that patience can defeat power. Proof that losing everything can sometimes be the beginning of everything. I ended my first public talk with these words. Backhand index pointing right if you're watching this. And you feel alone. Remember this. You haven't lost your future. You're just being prepared for it. And that's how my story truly ended. Not with revenge. Not with money. But with impact. 5 years later, the room was full. Not investors. Not reporters. Students. Young founders from different cities. Different backgrounds. Different failures. They stood where I once stood. Confused, scared, but still dreaming. One by one, they shared their stories. A girl who was told she was too weak. A boy whose family laughed at his ideas. A student who lost everything and started again. I listened. And I saw my past in their eyes. Then something unbelievable happened. One of my first students walked onto the stage. Now a successful founder himself. He looked at me and said, "You didn't just teach us business. You taught us how to stand alone." The room went silent. That was the moment I understood the truth. Backhand index pointing right, success ends. Money ends. But the courage you give others lives on. I didn't build an empire. I built people. As the event ended, I turned off the lights and walked out quietly. No applause needed. No spotlight required. Because the future was already walking ahead of me.